afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. Can I confirm you can hear me? If you can, give me a thumbs up. Give me a thumbs up if you can actually hear me. Welcome to our masterclass session. Today we'll be giving you insights as to why employees leave their particular jobs using particular analytical tools. My name is Victor, Senior Data Associate with Analytics, and I have close to 10 years experience across board all analytical tools, and we'll be having a very good session today. You see, it's actually been adventurous walking people through their transition into tech. And I must tell you, it's an adventurous journey. And I'm glad you also want to take that bold step because it takes a lot of courage to take such a step. Without taking too much time, I would like to know where some of you are calling from. Okay, I'd like to know where some of you are calling from or joining from. If you'd like to put in the chat where you're joining from. Anybody like to share with us where you're joining from? Anne, oh, wonderful. Anne, you're joining from London. That's wonderful. All right, Abayomi from Bristol. Okay, can I get more responses? Okay, all right, Bianca from Manchester. Okay, I see Lagos, Nigeria. I see Ibadan. I see Lagos. Can we get more responses? More responses? All right, more Lagos, Nigeria. That's wonderful. We're so excited to have you on the call with us today. And we will be moving straight into today's session. And now we're just going to share my slides. Just going to share my slides just a moment. Okay. Wow, I still see the locations are coming in. Well, thank you so much, everybody. Wow, that's wonderful, remarkable. So please give me a thumbs up if you can see my slides. Do give me a thumbs up if you can see my slides. Can I get a thumbs up for that?
Yeah, we can see your slides, Victor. You can go on.
All right, thank you so much. Okay, so once again, welcome to our human resource analytics track. Today you'll be learning a bit about human resource and how to use analytical tools to come to profitable conclusions in the HR department of an organization. Okay, so without taking too much time, let's go to the next slide. So who are we, right? So we are Tenalytics. Now, what do? We are an ed tech company, meaning educational technology, and we are involved in helping Africans and people of Black community learn premium tech skills and lowering the entry barrier into tech. Okay. Now, our service offerings are aimed at building capacity and understanding across different tech fields, from data analytics, business analysis, data engineering, data science, financial analytics, human resource analytics, power platform. And then you need to know that the entire data ecosystem is involved in what we take you through, okay, to enable our clients achieve data-driven decisions and decision-making processes, okay? Now we have facilitators across several industries. To name a few, Apple, Microsoft, Amazon. I'm sure some of you know Amazon. You know PwC, Deloitte, KPMG, just to name a few. All right. Now, something you should know is our programs are structured in such a way that it's practical enough for you to apply in an actual job opportunity. All right. So we'll go to the next slide. All right. So, every time you come to an organization, you need to also know who the visionaries behind the organization is, right? So we have on the left side Adeza Suleiman. Now he is the founder of Tenalytics. He's a data analytics expert, okay, and has close to a decade experience in data analytics and management consulting, right? Working in sports, professional services, educational technology, um, energy and automobile sector, okay? And it would please you to know that he has trained over 8,500 participants. And I'm glad to also let you know that we are looking forward to adding you to our success story. Okay, so on the right side, we have the co-founder of Tenalytics, Efemina Ipro. He's a business data support lead at Post Office UK currently. All right. So he's a data scientist also with close to a decade of experience cutting across multiple sectors, and also holds a master's in data analytics from Athlon Institute of Technology. All right. So now you have a fair idea who um, the visionaries for this organization is. So you are in safe hands, okay? And you only get premium quality from Tenalytics. I will take you to the next slide. Now, what have been our achievements in 2022? Well, in 2022, we have helped over 500 people transition from the classroom into their first job in tech across the UK, US, Canada, Europe, and Asia. Think about it, 500 is not a little number. It's a lot of people, and later on, you would hear more about their success stories. Now, again, sometimes you always need social proof, and more social proof will be provided on this call. But you can see even in the papers like Business Day, Nairametrics, you have PR Fire, you know, mentioning the things we've been doing, so we don't do little things here at Analytics, we do big things. Okay, so just recently we had a hackathon. All right. Now, if you don't know what a hackathon is basically people coming together and trying to solve real life scenarios using analytical tools. Now, there was a cash prize for it. And as you can see, right at the top is Miriam, who was the winner of the just concluded hackathon. All right. Okay. So let us continue. All right. So some of our participants work across company. I think I've mentioned a few where our facilitators work. Okay. But you need to know that it's not just that our facilitators work in global organizations, but our participants, students that graduate from our programs, they work in several multinational companies, okay, across the globe, from HSBC UK to the popular Airtel, to NHS, Unilever, Nestle, to Vitafoam, Total. So it means we also have participants who are now currently working even in the oil sector, in case you actually would like to work in the oil sector as an analyst. Okay, let us go on. All right, now, what are you going to be experiencing today? What are you going to learn today? Well, what you will learn is using Power BI, we'll be analyzing why employees leave their jobs. Okay. Now, the second thing you will get to find out is the pathway to becoming a HR analytics professional and securing a job anywhere in the world. I'm sure you also like to hear that part. So please stick around till we get to that aspect of the program. And thirdly, you also know about our upcoming HR Analytics cohort program, which of course is starting on the 2nd of September. And then finally, like I mentioned above about having social proof, you would also find out a few more of our success stories. Okay, so that being said, we're going to get started. And to take us on the next segment, I'm going to welcome the founder of Tenalytics, Adeza Suleiman, to take us through the rest of the session. So welcome, Adeza. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you very much for that, Victor, for that wonderful introduction. Good evening, everybody. It's evening my time over here, and I'm super excited to have you on the call. So, Victor, I think you can stop sharing so I can go ahead and share my screen.
Certainly, certainly. Thank you.
Okay. So just before we start, because Victor has said a lot of things about what we do and what we stand for at Analytics. For us, like I always say, whenever I have the opportunity to, is the focus for us is very simple, and that's to get more Africans and people of the Black community into tech, as many as we can. And that's what we've stood for the last over 3 years. And we've been doing this over a couple of years now, helping so many people make that switch and transition. We'll be having a very interactive and fantastic session this evening. What we'll do is simple, okay? I'll show you how to get data, where we'll get the data from, data with regards to people in an organization, right? So you have people that have left, and the company wants to find out why people are leaving. Because the only way you can solve a problem is to even, first of all, understand where the problem is and what the problem is. Okay, so if you know where the problem is, for example, you can start to engage in so many strategies and implement policies that are tailored towards the solution rather than what we think based on our years of experience. All right, and I'll be showing you how you can make the switch as well. Because a lot of people ask the question around, oh, I've always been learning, but I don't know how to get into tech, especially within the area of HR analytics, okay, which is a specialized area and very high in demand across the globe. Or I would like to work remotely. How do I get started? I've been learning. I've been watching YouTube videos. I really don't know what to do, and so on and so forth. So I'll be breaking it down for you and show you what you need to learn first, how you go to the next level, and all until you get a very clear pathway into making that transition into tech. Now, just before we start, I would love to know if this is the first time you are joining any of our master classes. All right, if this is your first time, just type in yes into the chat so I know those that are newcomers into our masterclass. So if it's your first time, just type in a yes. You're welcome, Akinwale, Simi, Brilliant, Victoria, Josh, Priscilla. Wow, a lot of new people. That's amazing. Fantastic. Fantastic. Brilliant, 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 brilliant. Okay, so good to have you all join us this evening. And within the next, I would say about 2 hours, I'll walk you through everything we have for today. First of all, we'll work on a practical exercise. Secondly, I'll show you the pathway to making that transition into tech. A lot of people would be moving to different countries, from Nigeria, from Ghana, from South Africa, from Kenya, to the UK, to Canada, and so many other countries, some for masters and some just to, migrate to live in another country. But how do you ensure that you compete for the best jobs out there? Okay, how do you equip yourself with the skills to compete for the best jobs out there? And I'll be sharing how you can do that. I would also introduce you to our upcoming program on the 2nd of September and success stories. So people like you who had it was just a thought in their head, I would like to transition into tech. That was the thought. And they started the program, they completed the entire program, including the internship. And today they've gotten jobs in different organizations across the globe. I'd also share some of their stories with you. All right, but let's get started with our session for today. Okay, and like I mentioned, I'd like to keep it interactive. So I'd want about 2 to 3 people who would love to work with me. Okay, because our case study today, which I'll be sharing with you shortly, just give me 1 second. Put up my slide and then we'll get started. Okay, 1 second, please. All right, so just like Victor said, and like I've also mentioned, somebody's saying they can't hear me. I'm not sure that's from my end.
I can hear you here.
All right, thank you, Victor. Okay, so let's move. And like I said, today's session is practical, 100% practical. We'll do the practical bits and we'll move on to the other part of how to strategize to transition into tech. Okay, and it's a simple case study. Like I mentioned, a company has issues with people leaving, all right? And that's what we refer to as employee attrition. So employees are leaving the company, and the company wants to find out why employees are leaving so that they can address the issues they have internally to at least reduce the level of attrition to a reasonable rate. And we'll be looking at this together today. And I want at least 3 people to work with me, okay, as my fellow analysts. So I'm the HR analyst. I need 3 more people who would love to work with me. So how it would work is this: I'll bounce ideas off you guys, and rather than everybody unmuting to speak so that we avoid the session today being rowdy, I'll have 3 people who would have the ability to unmute themselves and also make contributions. So if you'd love to be a part of the practical session today, please feel free, use the raised hand icon and I'll take note of you. And when I have questions, I'll just call you up, okay? So Abayomi would love to volunteer. Abayomi Ogundare. Thank you very much, Abayomi. Anybody else? Akinwale Phillips. I need a lady. I believe Abayomi and Akinwale are men, so I need a lady. Chiladera. Chiladera, are you female? Okay, Chioma sounds like a female name, so I think I'll just take I'll take Chioma. All right. So I have Akinwale Phillips, I have Abayomi Ogundare, and I have Chioma. All right. So these are the analysts I have on the call, including myself. So we have 4 analysts. All right. And we're going to work on this together. And I'll bounce my ideas off you, like I said. Okay. So just please. So maybe Chiladera, because Chiladera also indicated earlier. So Chiladera, I'm going to take your name down as well. So I'll pick you up to ask questions from time to time. Now, we'll be using a tool called Microsoft Power BI. Microsoft Power BI, all right? And it's a tool for anybody who works with data. It's absolutely critical for a HR analyst, for a data analytics professional, for a data analyst to know how to use Power BI. Because Power BI is a tool that helps you come up with insights and build amazing visualizations. We'd use Power BI today to do something very simple, but also very insightful. Okay, something very simple but impacting. So if you are new to tech, you are new to data, you've never done this before, you've never seen Power BI, is not a problem. You're at the right place. The best way for you to get value out of this session is to watch what I'm doing, understand all the concepts, and then at the end, you can then start to put all the things you've learned today into practice. All right. We'll take about 2 hours to complete the practical bits, like I mentioned, and then we'll talk about the other areas afterwards. So the first thing you need to have to be a part of this session, I mean, at the end, when you're practicing on your own, at your own convenience, so that you don't try to scramble and do all the things I'm doing on the call right now, is to have Microsoft Power BI. Okay, so if you don't have it installed on your computers, immediately after the call today, ensure that you download and install Microsoft Power BI. And how do you do that? Very, very simple. But I've also put together all the steps. I've put them on my slides. Okay, so when you receive the slides, you'd have access to downloading and installing Power BI. So don't try to do it on the call because it could interrupt your network. When you're installing, you could miss out 1 or 2 things I'll be showing you. And at the end of the day, you're trying to play catch up. Okay. So step 1, you search for Power BI. Step 2, you click on advanced. So I have all the steps for you. Okay. 5 steps altogether. And that takes you into downloading and installing Power BI. You don't have to do it on the call, but I've downloaded and installed already. Okay, so I'll show you. So once you've downloaded and installed at the end of the session today, you then need to launch Microsoft Power BI to help us solve the problem of attrition in this particular company. All right. And this is a real life case scenario, because you'd work in organizations, and even with the Japa, the Japa craze nowadays, everybody leaving the country to one country or the other, and so on and so forth. HR are stretched to the limit. All right. So apart from that particular, syndrome, are there other reasons why employees would leave a company? And we know how crucial or critical employees are to a business. Okay, so without the people, the business cannot stand. So if you have people leaving, then it's a major, major problem. Okay, and that's the problem we'll try to solve today. And Abayomi, Akinwale, Chioma, and Chiladera would work with me to ensure that we solve this problem today. Now, I'm going to assume that we have downloaded and installed Power BI, because I have it installed on my computer, like I said. The next thing would be for us to get our data. Okay, because remember, we are professionals who know how to use data to make decisions. All right, so we need to work with data. Now, where do we get our data from? And I'm going to introduce you to a site, all right, called kaggle.com/dataset. So I'm going to type it on my browser. So kaggle.com/dataset. That's the link, the URL. And I'll copy it and paste in the chat. Okay, so just for the benefit of people who would love to, but I have this on my slide already, so that's fine. Okay, so I'm going to paste it in here. Do we have Power BI public? I'm not sure I understand what you mean in CCAC. What about those using Mac? I'm not sure you'd be able to install. What we'll do is the steps to install on Mac would also be made available, all right? Because Power BI on Mac is not as straightforward as on Windows, okay? But would also have the steps as well for Mac, Power BI for Mac, all right? So now we've gone to kaggle.com/dataset, and that's a repository where you have numerous data sets to work with. Okay, numerous data sets to work with. Now, the data set we want is attrition, data sets with regards to attrition. So I'll come to search data sets and I'll type in attrition. All right, and even before I finish typing, I've seen the data that I want, which is this one. All right, the IBM HR Analytics employee attrition and performance. So I'm going to click on this to open it up. Now, one thing you need to know about Kaggle is you must sign up before you can download anything. Okay, and all you have to do is just to create an account, and that's all. Create an account, have your username, your password, and you can download any data set you want from Kaggle. All right, so kaggle.com/dataset, you type in attrition, it shows you this particular data set, IBM HR Analytics employee attrition and performance. Okay, I'm going to click on download, and that downloads the data for me. So I'll click on download. All right, and that downloads the data into my downloads folder. So you can see that's in there. All right, it's downloaded as a zipped folder, archive9.zip. So I'll go into my downloads to unzip so that I can have access to the content. So let's go in there. Let's go to the downloads. So I'll go to my downloads folder. All right, so I'm just going to click on this to open up the folder, and let's see what it looks like. Okay, so please, you can drop your questions anytime into the chat if you have any, and then I'll help address your concerns. Yes, the slides will be shared with those that stay till the end of our session today. All right. So now this is the data I just downloaded. If you can see my computer clearly, and it's archive 9. Okay. So what I want to do is to extract. So I'm going to right click. I'll right click and then I'll click on extract all. Okay. Extract all. And once I do that, it would ask me to extract. I'm going to click on extract. I'm sure you all know how to do this, okay? So just to extract your zipped folder, the one you downloaded, is a compressed folder, zipped. So you need to extract it. And all you have to do is right click and then click on extract all, and then you have it extracted. So this is what the data looks like. When you extract, it's a CSV file. And how do I know it's CSV? If you look at the type over here, you'd see that it says Microsoft Excel, comma, separated values file. So comma, separated values, CSV is comma, separated values. Now, it's important for you to know the type, because if you don't know the type, then you don't know what to select when you launch your Power BI. All right. So when you want to work with any data, especially with Power BI, know the data source, the data type. What type? Is it an Excel file? Is it a CSV file? Is it a JSON file? Is it a folder? Is it a PDF? You need to know the file type. Is very, very important. Okay. Now, this is what the data looks like. I'm going to open it so that we'll see what it looks like. Okay. So I'll double click on the file to open, and this would open it up on Excel for us. And I'll show you what it looks like. It's just a bunch of data, and we really can't make sense out of it. Okay. So this is what it looks like. When you open it, double click on it to open, it opens up on Excel. I'll close this. All right. Now, if you look at the columns, which we're not going to dwell too much on, you'd see that you have so many features. The data set has so many features. You have the age. I'll maximize a bit so you can see it better. All right. So the first column, you have the age. You have attrition. Attrition says yes, no, no, no. So attrition simply means if that employee has left, you'd see yes. If the employee is still within the business, you'd see no. All right. So the attrition column shows yes for those that have left and no for those that are still within the business. All right. So this particular employee, age 41, attrition is yes, meaning that the employee has left the business. Business travel rarely. So you have the business travel where you have employees who travel rarely, travel frequently, and so on and so forth. You have the daily rates. The daily rate is the rate attributed to each employee within the business. All right. You have the departments, the employees department, sales, research, and development. And if you scroll down, you'd see other departments, of course. You have distance from home. Right? Distance from home. How far is the employee's residence from their home? The employee's residence from the business itself, from the company. So you have this in kilometers, 1 kilometer, 8, 2, 3, 2, and so on. All right. So for employees' distance from home that says 27, it means this particular employee lives very far away. All right. 1 kilometer means the employee lives considerably close to the office. And of course, you have education. You have education means first degree, second degree, and so on and so forth. You have education field. You have employee count, and you have so many features like that. All right. And all these features simply, this is data collected for all the employees within the business. The age of the employee, the distance from home, if they travel rarely or they travel frequently, what's the employee number, what's the gender of the employee, female or male, the hourly rates, the job level, and so many other columns, the marital status, okay, the job satisfaction, how satisfied are the employees within the business, okay? So they've done an employee survey to find out, are employees satisfied with their jobs or not, all right? You have the monthly income, okay? How much employees make on a monthly basis. You have the monthly rates as well for each employees. You have number of companies worked. That's the number of companies a particular employee has worked before. So if an employee has worked in maybe 7 companies before joining this company, it means this would be the 8th company that particular employee would have been working for, right? You have overtime for employees that do overtime, yes or no. So you have all these features. Now, looking at this the way it is impossible to tell a story. It is impossible to take a decision, and it is impossible to know where the problem is. All right? An employee leaving because they have too much overtime. You cannot tell because you can only see just a few rows of what the data is all about. And if you scroll down, you keep on seeing yes and no, yes, no, yes, no, and so many other different, records that have been captured from employees in this particular company. Now, the question is, how do we start to make sense out of this data that exists? And that's the role of the HR analyst. You take data that the company generates, analyze the data, and you can then see insights that would help you recommend solutions to problems that exist in the company. All right. I just thought it would be very important to show you this before we even start doing anything. Okay. I'll close this because I don't need it opened. I'll close it. And where I want us to go to now is back to our slides. And this is where I'll start to engage Abayomi and my other analysts. All right. So my first question, I'm going to allow you unmute yourselves. Okay. So Abayomi, I'm sure you can unmute yourself if you would want to. Where you are is quiet, especially. And then Akinwale as well. And Chioma and Chiladera. Okay. So my question to you is, and this is, let's even imagine outside the data set itself. Forget what you have in the data. Okay. If you want to also draw your answer from the data, please feel free. So what you have on the slide is the data dictionary. So all the explanation I was giving, for example, the age of the employee, you can see that here. You can see the age of the employee, right? Attrition shows whether the employee has left the company, yes or no. Business travel, if they travel frequently or not, and so on and so forth. Now, I want you to tell me, what are some of the reasons you think employees would leave an organization? Let's start from there. What are some of the reasons?
All right, thank you very much. My name is Abayo. I'm actually a student of data science, and I used to work as an HR back in Nigeria, and it's my passion to become an HR analyst. Anyways, that's why I chose to study data analysis. So the first thing I feel can make an employee to quit their role is compensation and benefits. So if an employee feel unfairly compensated, they actually have higher rates of leaving. Another thing I feel can actually make an employee leave is a management decision. So in a situation where employee feels like management decision is not all inclusive, they might actually want to leave. Those two are the points I would like to talk to my other colleagues to have other things to share also. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for that, Abayomi. I think that was straight to the point and that made a lot of sense. Okay, so let's hear from Chioma. Chioma, please, if you have anything, or Chiladera.
Hello, can you all hear me?
Oh, yes, we can hear you, Chioma. Go ahead, please.
Okay, my name is Chioma. I'm an aspiring data analyst. So the question for me, I'll use myself as an example. One thing that would make employees to leave, I for one will leave for no job satisfaction. I'm using myself as an example because right now, I don't think I'm fulfilled in my job because of the skills I have. I can't even use it in my present workplace. So I don't have that job satisfaction and I'm not fulfilled inside me. So I feel like leaving. So if I should feel that way, I feel other employees that are now satisfied in their job would feel same way also. So that's one point I have to say one so that others can contribute as well.
Right, fantastic, brilliant submission, Chioma. I think I'm in the midst of, very intelligent people this evening. All right, Chiladera, let's hear from you and then we'll move on.
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Chidera. So quickly, the simple thing I would say is when there's no challenge, let's say you've worked in an organization for a very long period of time, and then you're not seeing any form of challenge, nothing is challenging you anymore. You feel like, okay, you've passed this particular level you are, and then you want something higher, you want a greater challenge. That could be something to make one leave an organization. And then another thing is, let's say you apply for a job role and then you are employed for that job role. Suddenly you're given something else to do outside the job role. Yes, that's to some, it could be it could be another way to learn something outside what you already know. But to others, it could be a challenge and could make them not to stay without having them trained on what they are meant to do. So it could be so demanding and then could have them leave. Thank you.
Fantastic, brilliant submission. Thank you very much for that, Chidera. Okay, so don't worry, Akinwale, I'll come back to you, when I have other questions to ask. Work-life balance. Tijani sent something in the chat. He said work-life balance. Work-life balance can also lead to what? Job satisfaction. And the reason why I like what Chidera said is you mentioned employees getting a job, they get into the role and find out that, oh, this is different from what I, expected. And what happens? They start, they don't have that engagement and the job involvement, and eventually they start to lose track, and immediately they see another opportunity, they leave immediately. So what happens is you see those employees come in and they leave almost, as fast as they came in. So these are very, very important and crucial aspects. Not being promoted. Brilliant. Thank you for that, Chinenye. Now, these are our opinion, okay? From Abayomi to Chioma to Chidera. We all have our sentiments and opinion, okay? And we can give these recommendations to say, oh, it is compensation, oh, it is management decision, it is work-life balance, it is job satisfaction, no challenges on the job, so employees are not engaged. We could assume, but we wouldn't be solving the problem, okay? So what we want to do now is take the expertise of all what you've said, the expertise of Abayomi, Akinwale, Chioma, and Chidera, and see if we can make sense of our analysis or the data that we have eventually. And we're going to use something very simple, okay, to solve this problem. Something very simple. And we'll be deploying Power BI today. So what I'll do is I'll show you how to launch Power BI. We'll get into Power BI, bring our data into Power BI, and start to get insights. And I'll come back to you to ask you questions on what you feel should be done or what you can see from the insights we'll draw out together. Okay, so let's move. Now, the assumption is you've downloaded and installed Power BI. So to launch Power BI, you go to your search. Very fast. That's the fastest way you can look for it. Go to search and type Power BI. And of course, you'd see it pop up and you can click on that to launch the Power BI application. Okay. So you'd see it launch. I'll just wait for a few seconds and Power BI would come up. All right. And as soon as it's up, we'll bring our data into Power BI and get started. So when you launch Power BI for the very first time, you would see this particular page. It's like a welcome page. You don't need to do anything here. Just close. All right, top right corner, just close. And then you'd see the Power BI desktop application. Okay, you'd see the Power BI desktop application. Now, for those that are just joining, I had said that don't bother downloading Power BI and installing it now, okay, because you would lose track of some of the things we are doing. Focus on my explanation, and then at the end, you can download, take your time to do all the things I'll be showing you. At least I showed you where I got my data from, right? Downloaded it, You can all go there to download as well. Okay. Now this is Power BI, and Power BI is a tool that would help us answer some of the questions we have, some of the assumptions we have. Okay. Just like we have all talked about a couple of minutes now. Now, what do I need to do? I need to bring in my data. Remember, we agreed that the data, if I go back here, the data is a what? Is a CSV file, comma separated values file. So now that I know that it's a CSV file, and I go to my Power BI, at the top left corner, you'd see where you have get data. And it's pretty intuitive. Get data simply means give me data. I have data somewhere, get it for me, bring it into Power BI. All right. So I'll click on the drop down where I have get data, and then you see your common data sources, Excel workbook, data flows, Dataverse, and then I'll see text/CSV. And that's what I want. Text/CSV, because my data is a CSV file. We saw that, comma separated values. So I'll click on that. All right. And the moment I do that, I'll then need to navigate to where I have that downloaded folder, the one I downloaded from Cargo. So you go to your downloads, you'd see the folder you downloaded, Archive 9, that's mine. I'll double click on it, and then you'd see your data set. Okay. All you have to do is you click on the data, just click on the file, and then click on open. That's all you have to do. And what it does is Power BI will then go to that folder to what? Extract the data that we have in the folder. Remember, I opened the data for you and we saw all the columns. We really couldn't make sense out of it, but would start to make sense when we bring it into Power BI. So Power BI gives you a preview. You can see the age, the attrition, the business travel, the daily rates, the department, distance from home. You can see all those columns we saw initially. And at the down right corner, you have three options: load, transform data, and cancel. All right. And this brings me to one of the very first principles when working with Power BI, which we call ETL. Okay. ETL, which is extract, transform, load. Okay. So I'm just going to type that into the chat. Extract, transform, load. So it's a principle you work with when you are using Power BI, which means the first thing you want to do is to extract your data wherever the data is. If the data is on the web, if the data is in a folder, if it's in a file, if it's in a database, wherever it is, you need to extract your data from there. That's the first one. Secondly, you need to transform. And what's transformation? The data is not clean. The data is dirty. You need to change, reshape the data, change the date format, combine two columns together, separate one column into two. So all the process of doing all those things, putting your data in the right shape and format before you analyze, is called transformation. It's part of the transformation. So when you extract your data, you are meant to transform before you load. Okay, so that's the framework. Extract, transform, and load. Having said this, what do you think I should do next? Do you think I should load, or do you think I should transform? Type it into the chat. Do you think I should load, or do you think I should transform? What should I click on? Tell me in the chat. Maureen says transform. Akinwale says depends. Chinaya says transform. It doesn't depend. It's always transform. Always transform. Always transform. You have to clean. Yes, I understand what you mean, Akinwale. If you are sure that your data is not dirty, your data is perfect, then fine. All right. But again, you want to be sure that you have everything sorted out. We're not doing any transformation today anyways because of time. All right. But I want you to embed that framework in your minds. ETL, extract, transform, and load. So I'll click on transform data. And the moment I do that, it takes me into another environment called the Power Query editor. And this is where you are meant to do all your transformation, okay? So if you want to clean up your data, you want to make changes, you want to do this, do that, combine, split, you do everything in here. But because of time, we're not going to dive into, transformation on this particular data set, okay? So, but transformation is done in this environment. That's what you need to understand. Now, the only thing I'll change here is the name of my table or the name of the data. Now, if you remember, the name of the file had WAFN USE, it's a very long name, but I want to shorten it. So whatever I have in here, I'm going to take it out and I'll just leave it as attrition, simple and short. You want to keep the names of your tables as short as possible. And it should also, show the essence of the data you have in that table. So what does the data contain? If somebody sees the name of this table, can they understand immediately the content of that particular table? All right. So I'm going to take out everything I have there and I'll leave only what? Attrition as the name of my table. Not because if I left it the way it was initially, anything would happen, but just for ease of, ease of using, and also for, I would say, just to keep it tidy. All right. I would hit enter and that's the name of my table, attrition. That's all I'm going to do. Okay. I won't do anything else. And then the assumption is we've done all the transformation we need to do. If we need to merge, would have merged, split, would have, split, and so on. And at the top left corner, you'd see the close and apply. Close and apply. So once you've extracted, you've transformed, the next step is to load, which is your close and apply. So I'm going to click on close and apply, the drop down, and then I'll click on close and apply again. So close and apply completes the process of ETL because that loads your data into Power BI for you. All right. So I'm going to wait for my data to load. You can see it's loading. It's saying loading data to model, 1,470 rows loaded. And the moment your data is loaded, you'd know because you'd stop seeing that loading, first of all. And at the right-hand side, under data, you would see what? Attrition. Okay, that was the name, the new name I gave my table, attrition. You can see that there under data. And if I click on the drop down, okay, if I click on the drop down, you would see all the columns, age, attrition, business travel, daily rates, departments, and some of the things we've seen. There's so many features here, about 35 different columns. All right. I'm going to work with what Abayomi, Chioma, Chidera has mentioned. I'll work with columns that are similar to what we have. And of course, always remember that when you set out to solving a problem, there are questions, your assumptions you would have, first of all, and then questions you'd want to also answer from the data that exists. Now, ideally, we have 35 different columns. So we have to start to think of the columns that contains the factors that leads to attrition. And you can do that in different ways. One way is to speak with experts, professionals, just like I spoke with Abayomi, Chioma, and Chidera, and they told me that, for employees to leave, these are the factors that usually leads to employee attrition, right? Another part is to use different types of analysis to identify why the employees are leaving, okay, which is what we are going to do now, all right? And we'll use two types of visuals in Power BI. Okay, Power BI has very powerful visuals. And if you look at this under visualizations, you'd see different visuals, okay, from your stacked bar charts to your stacked column charts to your pie chart, your donut chart, your pie chart. You have different types of charts. We'll use two key charts today. We'll use a chart called the key influencers, number one, and then we'll use another chart called the scatter chart or scatter plot. All right, and you see why these charts are very, very fantastic to helping answer some of the questions that we have. Okay, I'll start off with the key influencers charts, and then we'll move on to the scatter chart or the scatter plot. Okay, and I would explain what the scatter plot is. It's very simple. I'm sure by the time we create it and you see it yourself, you'd start to deduce insights from those charts. Now, for me to create any chart at all I have to do is click on it. All right, so under visualizations, you'd see a chart called the key influencers visual. Key influencers. And what does key influencer mean? It would show you the key factors, all right, or the key variables in your data that influences a particular action or influences a particular variable. In this instance, what we are looking at is attrition, people that have left the company. Okay, people that have left the company. So we want to know, what are those key factors that influences people to leave the company? All right, and we're going to do that using the key influencers. Somebody's saying this class are for selected people. What's the confusion, Sunny? Are you just joining the class? If you're just joining, perhaps you'll be confused, but I would like to know what's the confusion. Can you send that into the chats? What are you confused about, Lois? And I would help to clarify. Okay, so I'm going to allow you unmute yourself and let me know where I lost you and let me help, explain again. Go ahead, Lois. What's the confusion?
Thank you. Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Okay. Your screen is not showing what you're saying. That's why I'm confused. Or I don't know whether it's from my end, but it's so blank. I'm not seeing anything.
I haven't done anything actually.
Okay, because what I'm seeing on screen is saying build visuals with your data. Select or drag fields from data. Is that where you are?
Absolutely, that's where we are. I haven't done anything. So what I'm explaining, Lois, is this.
Okay.
Right. If you look at the right-hand side, can you see where I have visualizations on can you see my mouse and visualizations? Can you see that?
Yes.
Right. So what I was explaining is this, that under visualizations, you have different visuals that you can use to get insights from the data that you have. That's all I'm explaining. I haven't done anything yet.
Okay.
All right. Brilliant.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome, Lois. Okay, so let's move on. Now, I want to do what Lois is a bit anxious. She wants to see some magic happen. So don't worry, Lois, just calm down. We'll be seeing that happen very soon. So we want to see what influences people to leave. All right, so let's do something interesting. So under visualizations, all right, you'd see this very tiny at the bottom left is called the key influencers. If you look at my mouse, you'd see where my mouse is hovering. So if you're watching this with your mobile phone, you might want to pinch out to zoom in. All right. So you see the key influencers. The visual is called the key influencers. So once you've opened up your own Power BI later, after the session is done, hover your mouse on key influencers and click on it. And the moment you click on any visual, it would appear blank on your screen. Okay, just like I have on mine, it is blank. You can see what I have on my screen. Okay, so Lois, confirm you can see the blank visual I just, inserted on my screen. If you can see that, just type in yes into the chat. Brilliant. Okay. Now, any single visual you click on appears blank like this until you populate it with what? Data. Right? So it would appear blank the way it appears blank on my screen. Once you click any visual under your visualization, it appears blank like this. Okay. Now, what do we want to analyze? We want to analyze attrition, people that have left. So at the right-hand side, where I have attrition, remember the data attrition has yes, no, yes, no. For those that have left, you'd see yes. For those that are still in the business, you'd see no, all right? So all I need to do is I'm going to click on the tick box. I'll click on the tick box where I have attrition. I'll just click in there. And once I do that, it would apply attrition into my visual. Okay. Now, in this visual, after clicking on attrition, it says what influences attrition to be no. But remember, attrition is no and yes. So we want to know what influences attrition to be yes, not no, because we want to know why people are leaving. So instead of no, I'm going to click on the drop down and I'll select yes. All right, I clicked on the drop down and instead of no, I clicked on what? Yes. All right, so I want to know what influences attrition to be yes. That's what we want to find. All right, so that's the very first thing you have to do using the key influencers. Secondly, you select the different columns that you think influences attrition and to see if it actually influences attrition. Okay, and some of you have said this already. Temitope said I joined late. Temitope, don't worry, you're fine. Just watch what we're doing and you'll be okay. All right. So first of all, Abayomi said compensation and benefits. Compensation and what? Benefits, which means salary. Salary is usually one of the major issues why employees would leave. So if the salary is not very good, especially if you compare with other, competitors or contemporaries within the same industry, employees might want to leave because of that. Do we have any column relating to salary? Yes, we do. We have the monthly income. So once you click on your drop down under attrition, you would see where you have monthly income. Monthly income. All right. I'm going to click on that, the tick box where I have monthly income. I'm just going to click on the tick box. And once I do that, you would see where I have analyze, you have attrition, and where you have explained by, it says sum of monthly income. Now, Power BI is intelligent. So because income, the monthly income is numerical, it contains numbers. It summed it up for me automatically without me doing anything. And that's why you can see sum of monthly income. Okay, but I don't want to sum up the entire income. What do I want? I want the average. I want the what? Average. So I want to know at what particular income level would influence employees to leave, not the sum of the whole income of employees within that business. Okay, so instead of sum, I'm going to click on the drop down right underneath here, click on the drop down, and I'll change it to what? Average. I'll click on average. Okay, so, and that's all I need to do. And you can see that we have something at the left-hand side. It was blank initially, but now we have something on our key influencers visual. Okay, and I want to be sure I'm carrying Lois along. So Lois, if you are still following me, just type in yes into the chat. If you are not typing no, I'll ask you to unmute again and then, okay, fantastic, Lois is following me. Now, I would explain what this means. Okay, so Abayomi said compensation is important. for employees leaving. Now, what does this tell us? It says that what influences attrition to be yes? And we selected monthly income to check and see if monthly income influences attrition. And it does. But how do we explain what this is all about? And I will explain it to you now. It says when the average monthly income is 2,800 or less. All right, I'm going to maximize this so that we can see it better. Okay, I just maximize so we can see it better. It says when the average monthly income is 2,800 or less, the likelihood of attrition being yes increases by 2.6. What does this mean? It means that when the monthly income is 2,800 or less, which means the monthly income is low, and if you look at the right-hand side, you would see that the higher the monthly income, the lower the attrition. 2,800 or less has the highest attrition when you select this particular influencer. You can see this column that says 2,800 or less. It means that for all the employees that would leave the company, employees that earn 2,800 or less would leave 2.6 times more than the average of employees that would leave the business. So this is a key issue. And it clearly shows you here that people that are leaving are those earning, very low income, 2,800 or less. When it increases from 2,800 to 13,758, you can see that attrition reduces. You can see the bar here. It reduces. And it's further reduced when you have the income more than 13,758. So the higher the income, the lower the attrition. The lower the income, the higher the attrition. All right. So this is buttressing Abayomi's point of compensation and benefits. But that's not all. We need to check more variables to see if they also influence the attrition, and not just to see the influence, but to also see to what level, to what extent. If I'm to attack the first three factors, would monthly income be a part of it? So let's go to the next one, where Chioma mentioned job satisfaction. Okay, job satisfaction, and Chidera mentioned something related to job satisfaction, and also an employee joining a company, and then eventually the employee finds out that it is not what I signed up for, I am getting. So let's check job satisfaction and see. I'll click here to go back to reports. So it takes me back to where I was initially. And then what do I want to add now? I want to add job satisfaction. Okay. Does job satisfaction also influence attrition to be yes? So I'm going to click on job satisfaction as well. You'd see job satisfaction at the right-hand side, and I'll click on the tick box to select it. Okay. And again, you can see it says sum of job satisfaction, but I don't want sum. I want the average. All right. So rather than summarizing everything for me, just give me the average, rather than giving me an aggregate of the total. So I'll click on the drop down and I'll change it to what? Average. All right. So average job satisfaction. I also want to see if the age affects attrition. So who are the people leaving? Are they young people or are they old people? And also work-life balance. So for people who have very poor work-life balance, are they also likely going to leave compared to others? Does that affect attrition? We'll also see that shortly. So I'm going to select age as well. But the moment I added job satisfaction, you can see something popped up on the left. We'll come back to explain all of that. But let's select age. Still under my data, I'll click on age to select age. Okay. And it says sum of age, but we don't want to see the sum. Remember, it doesn't make sense to sum up all the ages of employees in the business. We want to see the average. So I'll click on the drop down again, and then I'll select what? Average age. And I want to see work-life balance. Work-life balance. We have that here, work-life balance. Does this also affect attrition, and to what level, what extent? So I'll click on that as well. And remember, you also want to change it to what? Average. Okay, you want to change it to average. I think I'll just select one more thing or two more things, okay? Because overtime can also lead to job satisfaction, right? If you are working overtime all the time, so every day you work overtime, so who are the people leaving? Are they likely the people that are working overtime, or they don't work overtime? And what job role has the likelihood of leaving more than other job roles? So let's check that out, and then we'll come back here, explain what we have, and I'll come back to Akinwale to ask what he thinks about the factors that affect attrition. Okay, so let's look for overtime, and I'll click on overtime to select. Click on overtime. All right, and let me just increase the size of this a bit. And the last thing I'll be clicking on after overtime is the job role. So I'll look for job role, and then I'll click on the job role. So who are the people leaving? Are they from the strategy department? Are they from HR, or where exactly? What department or what job role, is more susceptible to attrition? So I'll click on job role, and then let's see. Now we have our key influencers, and I would explain all what this means and why it is very, very key and very powerful. The key influencer is embedded with AI capabilities. We haven't done any calculation, we haven't done any analysis, we haven't done any correlation, we haven't done anything, but it is giving us what influences people to leave the company. Let's drill down a bit into it. So I'll click on the focus mode. So at the top right corner over here, you have something called focus mode to maximize the visual so you can see it better. So I'll click on focus mode. Now, what does this mean? When I clicked on monthly income appeared to be the key factor, the highest at 2.6. And that's it over here, the monthly income. Now, looking at the factors that affect attrition in this company, monthly income ranks number 4, no longer number 1 after I selected other features. So looking at the features or looking at the factors that affect people to leave this company, number 1 is the age. And I'm going to click on that. So when I click on age, what do we see here? It clearly says that when the average age is 21 or less, meaning that when the employee is age 21 or less than 21, the likelihood of attrition being yes increases by what? 3.5 times. So compared to what is obtainable in that company, the attrition level, when the employee is 21 years old or less, that employee is likely going to leave 3.5 times faster than other employees within the company. And you can see at the right-hand side, 21 or less has the highest level of attrition. And the older the employees get, 21 to 33, it reduces the level of attrition, and more than 33 has even a lower level of attrition. So this is instructive to any business leader. You are losing your young talent, and it's a major issue for the company. The second key factor is what? Overtime. And I'm going to click on the bubble and let's see what we have, right? So this is clearly showing us that what? When overtime is yes, meaning that when an employee, has overtime, what happens? the likelihood of attrition, which means the likelihood of that employee leaving the company, would be 2.9 times faster or more than other employees without overtime. So overtime appears to be an issue as well, a key influencer. And number 3 is what? The job role. I'm going to click on this. And what does this say? It says what? When the job role is sales representative, when the job role is sales representative, the likelihood of that employee leaving is what? 2.7 times more than other employees from different other job roles. And you can see that at the right-hand side. So I'm going to ask Akinwale. Akinwale, if you are the director of HR in this company, and you have been presented with this particular visual showing you the key factors, okay? Showing you the key factors, what would you address? What would you address? If you have the opportunity to address the first 3, what are the things you would address? And please also let me know your thoughts behind it. So I'm going to ask Akinwale. I'll give you the opportunity to unmute yourself. Let me see. And let's hear from you, Akinwale Phillips. So you are the director of HR, okay? What are your thoughts about you being presented with something like this?
Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Akinwale. Thanks, Suleiman, for allowing us to be your co-pilots in this. I just a little about myself. I work in human resources, particularly performance management, performance appraisals, and analytics, to be precise. So for these data sets, as an HR director, yes, the first thing you go to is your, what's it called? The number 1 thing showing here, which is the average age. But also, as a data person, you should also consider maybe like the top 3 factors, because it's what you did showing us the using monthly income first shows that just not one thing affects this attrition. So it's a combination of factors. So I'm saying that the majority is the age, but it's people that are in overtime and people in sales rep. So I would go by the top 3 factors that is influencing this thing. I would even say I'll go by anything that is giving me 2 times. Any factor that is giving me 2 times here, and say, okay, let me pick those ones and now drill down further to see how I can arrest this situation using what this data has presented to me. So the reason why, I also asked for the reasoning. So the reason why is because there's something they say in data that correlation doesn't equal causation. So you have to combine all these things together to now make a final decision.
Fantastic, brilliant submission, Akinwale. Absolutely. Again, this even gives you the opportunity to even come up with different other strategies. Okay, my young people are leaving. Why are they leaving? All right. Can I do a multivariate analysis? Multivariate means I want to compare. Okay, I've seen that 21 or less, my young people, my young talents are the ones leaving the company. What is their income like? All right. How much are they earning? So are the people leaving, are they both young and also income is also poor? Are they the bulk of the people leaving? So you can also do multivariate analysis to check and see where you have clusters of your attrition. Where do they exist? And from there, you can even come up with more, insights to help you take decisions. Another key aspect that Akinwale also mentioned is, what if I sit down with these people? Okay, so what I'll simply do is this simple. Anything that gives me 2x, I would love to, double down and focus on that. So for my employees that are young, that are involved in overtime, on the sales job role, and earns 2,800 or less, and their work-life balance is 1 or less, I want to put them into buckets and do something called a stay interview. So rather than waiting until people have dropped their resignation and you have exit interviews for them, what if I have a stay interview and find out, we have those things, I ask them questions and also trying to find out what we can do to keep them in place for them not to leave. And these are things we can also put in place. All right. Fantastic, Akinwale. So one last thing I want to show you before I come back to ask the final strategy that I would like to deploy based on the little analysis we've done is to do a little bit of multivariate analysis. And what we want to compare is we want to compare the age and the monthly income. So for those earning high, does age actually matter? Does the income earned actually matter? If people earning very high salary are still living, then we'll look at the fact that, okay, maybe the monthly income is not actually the issue. It might be other problems. So we want to also do something called multivariate analysis, where you combine and compare the relationship between two different variables, like the age and the income. Okay, and how do we do this? So I'll do this very quickly so that we complete that and we move on to the second phase of our session today. To do that, I'll use a visual called the scatter plot or the scatter chart. At the right-hand side, just like the way I clicked on my key influencers, I'll click on the scatter chart. So I'll click on that and it gives me a blank visual. All right, just like it gave me the blank for the key influencers the very first time, I also have the blank scatter chart. Okay. Lois, let me know that you are still with me. If you are still with me, Lois, and you are still following, just type in a yes. So I know that if Lois is following, then I want to assume everybody else would follow me. So Lois, please confirm if we are still together. Okay, so Eyimofe says yes, we are still together. Fantastic. Lois, but I haven't heard from you yet. So what we need to show now, like I mentioned, is we want to compare age and monthly income. And this is how you can also compare multiple columns to see relationship. All right. So what I'll do is I'll take age and I'll drop it under my y-axis. Y-axis is your vertical axis. Okay, from the top to the bottom, the vertical axis. I want to put my age on my vertical axis, which is my y-axis. So once you select your scatter chart, you'd see your values, x-axis, y-axis, legend, size, and so many other things. I want to drag age and drop it under y-axis. Okay, so I'm going to click on age and I'll drag and drop under y-axis. Okay, and of course, as usual, because age is numerical, they are numbers, it would sum up age for me. Okay, but I don't want sum, so I'm going to change it. I don't want the sum. I want it to show me the age of each employee. All right, show me the data points of each employee in the company. So I'll click on the drop down and I'll say, don't summarize. Don't summarize. All right. So that's for age on the y-axis. I'll then take my monthly income, because remember, I want to compare the age and the monthly income, the relationship between the two. I then want to see, for the people that are leaving, where are they clustered? Are they clustered around a particular area? And does that tell me anything? Okay, so I have my age on the y-axis. Remember, I selected don't summarize. Okay, so it shows me all the data points. I'll then go to my monthly income and drop that on the y-axis. I'll go to monthly income, click on it, drag and drop on the x-axis. Okay, it also gives me the sum. Remember, we don't want to sum, so I'm going to change it to what? Don't summarize, so that it shows me the clusters. So you can see your bubbles. It shows you the clusters, bubbles, bubbles, bubbles. Okay, so we can see the bubbles. And what does this mean? Each point represents an employee. an employee's income and the employee's age. So if I hover my mouse on one dot, you see the monthly income and you see the age. For this particular one, the monthly income is 12,808 and the age is 27. If I hover my mouse on another one, monthly income is 17,007 and the age is 34. So it shows the points of each employees and their income. Okay, but what I want to do is I want to see the cluster of people that have left the business. Where do they fall within this cluster of your monthly income and the age? So what I need to do is I'm going to take my attrition, I'll drag it and drop it under legend. So I'll take attrition, drag and drop under legend. All right. And of course, remember, we know that if employees have left, it will be yes, the dark blue. And if it is no, it means they have not left. Now, so that we can see clearly, and I'm going to ask one of you, Chioma, Chidera, Abayomi, or Akinwale again, I'll change the colors to make it more visually appealing and also clearer to everybody. Okay, so to change the colors, I'll simply click on the visual and I'll go to my format visual. All right, I'll go to markers where I have markers. I'll go to markers, click on the drop down under markers. Okay, and I'll go to color. All right, so let me take it again. What did I do? All right, I clicked on the visual. All right, under visualization, you'd see format your visual. I clicked on that because I want to change the color. You change your colors and things like that under format your visual. So I clicked on format your visual and then go to markers, click on markers on the drop down, and then you'd see color. All right, click on color, and then you have no, yes. I want my no to be a light colored gray, so I'm going to select this gray, and I want my yes to be red, and I'm going to select this red. Okay, and this is what we have. Now remember, your no is the light gray, meaning that these are people that are still in the company, while the yes are those that have left the company. If you notice, the reds are clustered around a particular area of this scatter plot. If you look at the number of red, clusters, they are clustered around one particular area, which I'll be explaining shortly, but I want somebody to look at it carefully and try to deduce what exactly is this showing me, all right? I have my age on the y-axis, and I have the monthly income on my x-axis. And then I have people that have left around a particular cluster, but what does it tell me? Okay, let me ask somebody to give us insight into this first of all, before I tell you what I have in mind. So let me ask Chioma. So Chioma, if you want to tell us what you think about this particular chart, what does it tell you? Does it tell you anything?
Yeah, I can observe some, there are some insights I can see from the charts. The number of people that are leaving, which we have the red color with it, are earning a monthly income below 5K. Am I right? And their age is not more than 40. I mean, they are clustered between, what I would say is that people that are leaving, the younger ones that are leaving, are earning lesser monthly income.
Fantastic, brilliant. I think you saw that, right off the bat. That's fantastic. And that's exactly what it shows. Now, if you look at, thank you very much for that contribution, Chioma. I think you told us and you gave us everything that I even need to explain. If you look at where you have the bulk of the red around this area, if you can see my mouse around this area, you'd see that it doesn't go above 5,000. it doesn't go above 5,000. The monthly income is not above 5,000. So people that are leaving are between the ages of maybe around 18 to 35, somewhat, because the bulk fall around this area. So you have your young people that are leaving, first of all, and then they are also earning low income. And you can see that as the income increases, you don't have as much red anymore. As income increases, the red dissipates. So those that earn a lot higher tend to stay longer within the company, and those that earn lower, would likely leave the company, as fast as they can. And we can see that clearly shown by this particular visual, which is a scatter plot. And how did we show this? This is a bivariate analysis showing us comparison between two different columns, the age and the monthly income. And Chioma summarized it, beautifully for us. Okay, so those that are within a particular age and earn about 5,000 or less are the key focus area for us, because you can see the red clusters showing that they are leaving the business. Okay, so I think I'll take from Chidera, and then I'll take Abayomi. So Chidera, I'll take you first of all. What do you think you would recommend to the company based on all what we have seen? Okay, so first of all, I'm going to once more, keep this on focus mode. So we can see that when average age is less than 21 is a problem. So young people, young talents, over time is the second key factor. When they are in the sales representative job role is another major factor. And then when the average monthly income is less than 2,800, and when the work-life balance is is 1 or less, is also 2, following what Akinwale said, which is if it is 2x, it's a problem. I'm going to tackle it. Okay, so I want you to tell us, Chidera, what would you recommend? Imagine Akinwale is the head of people and organization, or the HR director, and you're presenting your findings to Akinwale. What would be your recommendations? What would you say the company needs to do based on the findings you've seen? So let me see. I'm going to allow you to unmute yourself. So Chidera, you can go ahead and unmute and tell us what you think you would recommend.
Okay, I was actually thinking of what to recommend for them. Then considering the fact that their ages are they are really young, I would, and then you know how it is with young blood looking for greener pastures and all. A lot of them might be leaving for various reasons. And then I think you mentioned something about, let me go back to my book, sorry. The stay interview. So I would recommend that once in a while you bring the young ones together and then have them talk, let them be included, like something like let them feel among, and then let there be like a compensation for overtime as well. If you're going to stay longer, there should be an incentive to you. Let them, because some of these young ones leave when they feel left out of the organization. They feel they have a longer time to stay. They have better opportunities out there. So if they know that they are included in the procedures, in the plans and all that, their decisions are listened to, adhered to, it could make them stay. That's one. And then a higher pay actually could actually go a long way as well. Then the job role in the sales representative, right? Yeah.
Yes.
When the job role is a sales representative, actually, I would really need our input on this because it's something I'm really battling with where I'm working now. So I don't think I can say much about it just yet.
Okay. All right. Fantastic. Brilliant. Chidera, I think you gave us They gave us a lot of, insights and recommendations on what can be considered. Stay interviews, absolutely spot on. Incentivize over time, definitely. Now, if you even look at the top three, you'd say the monthly income, yes, it's an issue, but not as much as the top three. So if we want to address the top three, there's a likelihood that we bring down attrition to a reasonable level. So what's the target? The industry accepted standard, first of all right? And what's our own organization standard? You can then do that comparison. Oh, if we're doing 10%, it's not too bad. Or if we're doing 15, maybe that's not too bad, depending on the size of the organization as well. So thank you very much for that, Chidera. I think that was fantastic. Now, because of time, I'd have loved to hear from Abayomi. Abayomi, if you could, type in what you have, type it into the chat so that we can take it from there. I don't want to take too much time on the call, okay? But what we've just done, simply, I'll just summarize, and then we move on to the other parts of our session, which is, if you want to get into HR analytics, what do you need to do? All right, what do you need to learn? We'll get into that. Our program coming up on the 2nd of September, and then success stories, and we wrap up for today. We've taken data that exists within a company that shows employees that have left that company and key reasons why they have left, the different columns and features that we had in the data set. Now, with the ability of Power BI and our understanding of how to leverage a tool like Power BI to help us solve problems, we've been able to get key insights that can either lead to recommendations to help reduce attrition or to more questions we can ask the data. So there are so many other questions we can ask and consider because these are very robust data sets. And guess what? This particular case study is a case study that was actually solved in class, and insights were designed and developed, and people come to give their presentations on what they think should be done in this company. All right. So I'm going to go back to my slide and then we'll wrap up with the rest of our session. And this is the power of Power BI. All right. Using an AI embedded, an AI enabled visual called the key influencers to help us do all the hard work, the heavy lifting. Okay. Where should I focus? What are the key areas I need to take note of? The key influencer has done it for us. And understanding of how to do your multivariate analysis, bivariate analysis to see two columns, how they relate, and giving us insight into age and monthly income as well. And that's the power of being in HR analytics, the power of using analytic tools to solve problems. And when people ask, oh, as a HR analyst, what do I do? What's my role? Your role is simple. Your role is to take HR-related data, people-related data, and provide insights and recommendations to drive the strategies in the company. Simple. So you're not saying, oh, we have to implement this, we have to implement that, just based on your assumptions. You are doing it based on what? Data-driven insights that you've been able to get when you work with the data. So you're working with data that looks like this, that makes no sense to anybody, to coming up with insights that looks like this, where you can start to come up with recommendations, see patterns and trends in data to help you do what? Take decisions within the business itself. And like I said, I'm going to share the slides with you so you have access to the materials, even our previous masterclass sessions, similar to this, previous masterclass sessions, you have access to them as well. As a HR analytics professional, especially for those that have gone through our program, the focus is on the global standard, which is how do I get jobs, across the globe, remotely. If I'm moving to Canada, I'm moving to the UK, I'm moving to the US, how do I compete for the best jobs out there? And one of the reasons why a lot of people would also love to, transition into HR analytics is because of the fantastic salary involved. In the UK, for example, you are looking at an average of about £32,500. And like I said, that's the average. right? Depending on the industry, the company, you can get a lot higher than that. And there are people that have gotten so much higher than £32,000 in the UK. In the US, it's about 62,000 US dollars, and in Canada, about 71,000 Canadian dollars. So the salary is fantastic, and you can see a clear career trajectory and pathway to career progression when you're in HR analytics. But the question is, what do I need to learn? What are the tools? What are the different techniques I need to know to be a HR analytics professional, to apply to a job as a HR analyst? Okay. First of all, you need to have a combination of data analytics skills and then HR analytics skills. And like I mentioned, you don't need any prior experience. You don't need to have been in HR. If you're in HR and you have these skills, fantastic. That gives you an edge, okay? Because you have years of experience, within the space. So you're a subject matter expert in addition to your analytic, skills you'll be adding to it. But if you don't have any experience, it doesn't matter. All you have to do, first of all, is learn problem solving. And problem solving is one of the most important, aspects of data analytics that you'd ever learn. So how do I solve a problem? How do I approach a problem? What tools do I need to solve this problem? Do I have the data? If I don't, how do I gather the data to solve the problem? All right. So the different techniques to problem solving, identifying root causes, using the 5 whys, using the McKinsey-Macy model, and so many other techniques to solving problems. That's the very first thing you need to do. Once you understand problem solving, you move to Excel for analytics. And Excel is one of the most versatile data analytics tools you would ever learn. Right? You learn how to use Excel to summarize, you get data into Excel, summarize your data using different tools like your pivot tables, your pivot charts. You create dashboards in Excel. And once you know how to use Excel for analytics, not Excel the way a lot of people think they know Excel because they can do 2 + 2 on Excel and so on and so forth. No, Excel for analytics. So once you've done this, the next step is to move to Power BI for data analytics. You've seen what we've done with Power BI. That's just a fraction of what Power BI can do, just a fraction. You'll be learning how to use Power BI to automate your reports. You'll learn how to use Power BI to build amazing visualizations and come up with insights to help businesses take key decisions. You'd also learn SQL, SQL, structured query language. All right. Structured query language is simply a standard language to interact with databases. Now, any structured organization would have their data in a database. You won't be working for a company and have to go online to download data. No, data will be in a database. So how do you interact with the database to get data from that database? SQL is what would help you do that. And SQL is that skill for anybody who works with data. You must know how to use SQL. Once you've done that, we added something new into the curriculum to add flavor and also keep up with the trend in the industry, which is ChatGPT for HR analytics. A lot of people have been talking about ChatGPT and other generative AI tools, similar to ChatGPT that, come up within the space. And the question is, will that replace the jobs that we have today? But the answer is a simple no. The people that have the skills to leverage tools like that to help come up with insights a lot faster, to help come up with key questions I can ask my data to, give me, solutions and recommendations and so on and so forth. We embedded that within the program so that you stand out when you apply to jobs. Recruiters would see that, wow, you know how to use ChatGPT. You know the right type of prompts to use to get the right type of results and so on and so forth. Now, once you've learned all of this, you then move to the second aspect, which is the HR skills. All right. So the first thing you need to learn is your HR analytics and performance evaluation. All right. So this is the era of HR moving from the conventional and I would say the business as usual HR. All right. You want to move from that into strategic HR. that gives, comes up with recommendations and gives key decisions to drive the business forward by leveraging data and leveraging analytics. All right. So HR analytics and performance evaluation, you'd understand the different types of metrics you need to look at, the HR metrics across the entire HR lifecycle within the business itself. Okay, so different metrics from attrition, we've looked at one of that. You'd look at things around talent management, absenteeism, and so on and so forth. You'd also learn how to build amazing dashboards using HR and people-related data. All right, and then collaboration and report automation. So how do you automate some of the reports that you have? So every month you have your monthly performance review sessions, you have your weekly performance review. So it means that you have to create those reports on a regular basis. How do you automate it? So you don't have to do all the hard work, the heavy lifting every single week or every single month. You learn how to do that as well. And last but not the least is building your case and creating action. Now, what is this all about? It's simply where you bring all the skills you've learned to the limelight, right? Because most of the time, a lot of organizations would look at HR as a cost center. You only spend money, you don't drive the business, you don't come up with, strategic initiatives and so on and so forth. So how do you start to leverage the new skills you've gotten, okay, to drive change in that organization? How do you bring your new skills to the limelight so that people know that, look, I have these skills and these are some of the ways I have been, developing and adding value into the business. And you learn all of that under building your case and creating action. And of course, a summary of the curriculum, what it looks like and what you'd be learning from problem solving all the way to building your case and creating action. Right? Problem solving, for example, you'll be learning the CRISP DM framework. Okay, the CRISP DM framework, which is the cross-industry standard process for data mining. So any project you find yourself that is data related, irrespective of the industry, the process is the same. All right, so that's why it's called the cross-industry standard process. You'd look at that process, you have a deep understanding of the CRISP DM framework, from your business understanding to your data understanding to your data preparation, all through the entire cycle of the CRISP DM and other areas you'll be learning within the problem-solving module. You'd move on to Excel, you'd do Power BI, SQL, before you move to the other HR bits that I've mentioned already. So once you get the slide, you can take out time and go through all the nitty-gritty, the details of the things you'll be learning in class. And by the time you are done, even before you are done, when you're done with your Excel, you're done with Power BI, you are building dashboards like this. So this is Deborah. Deborah joined our program sometime around March or April, if I'm correct. And Deborah, this is something she built. You can all, once you get the slide, take out time and look at the LinkedIn post. The HR Analytics dashboard she built, showing some fantastic visuals using Power BI, right? You have Kauthar, who also built this. She joined the program as well. You have Yinlayefa. Yinlayefa also joined around March, currently undergoing a fantastic project with us at the moment. This is a recruitment dashboard built using Power BI as well by Yinlayefa. And these are the type of things you'd be doing, okay? Olufemi built this, and so many, you build amazing stuff, come up with amazing visualizations and recommendations that you'll be giving to businesses with your invaluable skills you would have gained all through the length of your journey. So the question is, how long does it take for me to learn all these skills? What is practical for me to learn these skills and start to apply them? It's a 4-month learning journey, 3 months project-based classes, and then 1 month virtual internship. All right. So your project-based classes, you'd have that for 3 months, where you'd have a trainer, a facilitator like myself, other professionals within the space who would help you learn all these tools, learn all the techniques, all the different metrics you need to look out for when you are working as a HR analyst All right. When you are done with your project-based classes, you then move into the capstone project. So you complete your capstone project, which is an assessment. It's an assessment of all the skills, all the tools you've learned over the last 3 months. Once you're done with your capstone project, you then move into the virtual internship. Now, why is the virtual internship very, very crucial? This is where you build your portfolio. Okay. And because this space is heavily practical, it is practical based, nobody would expect that, okay, show me what you have on your CV and I'll be satisfied with that. No, they would ask for your portfolio. They would ask what you've done within the space. Can I see the type of problems you've solved? How have you used data to solve a problem before? They want to see the work you've built. So the capstone, the virtual internship is where we create a scenario that you'd work on real life projects to build your portfolio of projects that you would showcase to potential recruiters. All right. And that's the 4 months learning journey. 3 months project-based classes, your capstone project, and then your 1 month virtual internship. Now, classes happen Saturdays and Sundays. Every weekend, Saturdays and Sundays. And it's flexible because just like so many of you, from Chioma to Chidera, who currently has a challenge with the salespeople in the company, to Akinwale, to Abayomi, I'm sure you're professionals. Okay, Abayomi said he was doing his master's or something like that. You are either working professionals, 9 to 5ers, or you're doing your master's. So you have a flexible way of learning. Saturdays and Sundays. Saturdays are your live classes, where you have a trainer, you have a facilitator right in front of you, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. And then on Sundays, you have a more flexible learning method, which is, we call it the Watch Me Do It videos. So you have some bite-sized videos that you get to watch, you practice the things you see in the video, and then you implement them ahead of the next class coming up on Saturday. So Saturdays, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. every Saturdays. And on Sundays, you have the self-paced Watch Me Do It videos. And one of the things I always tell people is this, because I get numerous emails, numerous messages on LinkedIn, WhatsApp messages on the different groups and so on. People saying that, look, I'm trying to get jobs. Oh, Adeza, I've been learning for so long. How do you think? Somebody sent his CV to me the other day. He's currently in Manchester. He's been trying to get a job. He sent his CV to me to help him have a look at it. And there are key things you need to do to get a job in the tech ecosystem. You can't run away from it. And that's why so many people struggle to get jobs. But we have been able to devise a method that ensures that you go through that process, you'll get jobs, remote jobs. You are in Canada, you are in the UK, you are in the US, irrespective of where you are, you would get jobs. And I'll be sharing the other 50% of the skills you need to hone, the skills you need to, gather, and then you hone those skills. All right. Your 50% is the technical skill is just 50%. Your Excel, your problem solving, your Power BI, your SQL, your ChatGPT for analytics, your HR metrics and life cycle, your performance evaluation, HR analytics, HR dashboarding, all those things are technical and they represent only 50%. What's the other 50% that you need to have? I'll be sharing that with you shortly. All right. And the other 50% is these 7 key areas. And I would explain why they're very, very important. And to any talent manager, anybody in HR, you would understand how key these things are. First of all is a CV review. Okay, CV review sessions. Now, a lot of people, what you get to find is they're applying to jobs and they're throwing CVs away. They're throwing CVs out there to 100. You're applying to 20 jobs, for example, and you're applying with one CV. You would never get called for an interview. All right? Apply. Oh, I've applied to 100 jobs today. You are proud of yourself. But guess what? You did not tailor your CV to those job requirements. So how do you meet the requirements of the job? How does your CV match to the job requirements? And these are the things you need to take note of. So what we'll do is to show you and teach you how to tailor your CV to the job requirements for any role you're applying to. So the very first thing you'll be doing is you take your CV, and then you take the job requirements, the job description of the respective role you're trying to apply to, and you will do a match, leveraging different tools embedded with AI that would show you the percentage match of your CV to that particular job description. Your match could be 60%, for example. And every organization would have something called an ATS system, which helps to track the different applications. Okay, so the ATS is applicant tracking system. Most HR, HRIS systems, HR platforms have that today. ATS, applicant tracking system. What does this do? You set different thresholds and different criteria. And for employees that don't meet those thresholds, you yank them off. For example, employees that don't meet maybe 85% of the keywords that you have in that job description, yank them off. So imagine applying with a CV of 60%, you are definitely not going to get called. And that's why sometimes when you send your application, before you even click on submit, you're already getting, we are sorry, you can't go further with this particular job role. This is where you tackle that problem, your CV review sessions. Now, secondly, you have the LinkedIn optimization. And LinkedIn, this is where you get most of the opportunities that exist within the space. You're trying to transition into tech, you must have social proof. Social proof of the work you've done over time. Social proof of showing that, look, I've built things, and you can go to my profile and see a track record of all the things I've been doing in HR analytics. The dashboards you create, you'd see them there. And that's why I always tell people, go on LinkedIn and search for Tenalytics. All right, just go on LinkedIn and do a search for Tenalytics. Once you search for Tenalytics, click on people. Okay, click on people. You'd see all the people that have gone through our program and are currently also undergoing different programs with us, and see the amazing stuff they are building. Because one of the things we'll tell you is, a recruiter, you would not want a recruiter to go to your LinkedIn. You said you are a HR analyst, you know how to use Power BI, and then there is nothing that shows that you are within that space. It's a red flag. So you want to ensure you have your LinkedIn optimized to attract the biggest and the best organizations across the globe. Now, number 3 is your Upwork optimization, Upwork profile. You want to get remote jobs. Most of the remote jobs you get exist in Upwork. All right. So Upwork is a platform for freelancing, for remote work opportunities, and so on and so forth. So it would help you build an Upwork profile if you don't have one, optimize your profile if you already have one, so that you get verified and start to get jobs within the space. And navigating the job markets, I always love to talk about this. And this is simply because you have a lot of people that have no idea of the different pathways that exist in the countries where they reside. And I'll give you a typical example. I'm in the UK, for example, and I get to interact with so many people. And because you interact with people that have a particular mentality that this is what I must do, or this is the career path I would follow, everybody tends to follow that similar career path. Okay, the only way you can get a skilled worker visa is if you are working in care or you're working in the health sector, and so on and so forth. So everybody tends to follow that route, without the knowledge that there are so many other career paths available, number 1. Number 2, not understanding the requirements that it takes to get jobs within the space. All right. So we hold several sessions tailored towards different regions in Canada, in the UK. How can you leverage the skills that you have to get the type of jobs you want? Remote working, how do you get remote jobs, and so on and so forth. What are the key considerations? How do you apply to jobs? What type of job should you consider? Okay, and so many other tricks that you can take note of and take advantage of opportunities that exist within the system. You learn all of that during the navigating the job session. And then the references and recommendations. And this is where you as a professional trying to get into the space, HR of any company, globally recognized company, would ask for a reference. Right? So take, for example, you've done all the hard work, you've learned, you got your job on LinkedIn, you've done the interviews, now they're asking for recommendation. Okay, so provide a referee who can vouch for your character. Who have you worked with before as a HR analyst? Where have you done work before? And so on and so forth. Okay, so what we always do, and we advise people to do, is the moment you start learning with us at Analytics, your job title will change. So you're not going to, project yourself as a learner or as a student. No, you project yourself as a HR analytics consultant the moment you start training with us. Because guess what? All the skills you'll be working on, all the projects you'll be solving, the projects you'll complete during your internship, you'll deploy the same skills that you would leverage when you get a job in the real world. The same set of skills, the same tools, that's what you'd have to use. So you would represent yourself as a HR analytics consultant from the get-go. And when you have jobs, the request for references and so on, just indicate and put us in there. Okay, your line manager is Adeza Suleiman, the founder of Analytics. You worked with Analytics over the last 3 months or last 4 months as a HR analytics consultant. And these are the things I did. And they would reach out to us to confirm, can this person do this? Did they do this? And so on and so forth. And obviously we give you the best reference, out there to ensure that if that's the last thing that would, not let you get the job, you'll definitely get the job eventually. Now, number 6 is the job and interview preparation. And this is where hand-holding and mentorship also comes into play, because you'd see so many people that they have the skill technically, but they can't speak. They are scared of speaking. You ask them questions as simple as, introduce yourself. Can you tell me who you are? All right. So I just call somebody. I say, oh, Chidera, can you introduce yourself? Can we get to meet you? Okay. So what you'd find a lot of people doing is they stutter, they stumble, they don't know what to say. All right. And that's where the interview preparation becomes very, very crucial. And for everything has a technique, has a framework, an approach. And the approach we recommend is called the SEAT approach. To introducing yourselves, whenever you are told to introduce yourself, simply use this approach. S for skills, E for experience, A for achievements, and T for traits or type of person. All right. So you structure your response based on this framework, and you get to introduce yourself in the most compelling manner possible. All right. So when you get into that interview, you're not stuttering, you're not, thinking of what to say, because you've prepared and you've rehearsed. And that's what you do. We drill you during the job and interview preparation session, and you get all those things ready. Another thing I see most of the time is I ask people questions around, tell me how you have used data to solve a people-related issue or a HR-related issue in a company. And people cannot answer that question. Or they talk about, they start from A, they go to Z, they come back to G, and they just go all over the place. So how do you structure your answers in a way that you tell a story of every single thing you have on your CV? Every line, there's a story for it. And there's an approach as well. Everything has a structure and approach to follow. We call it the STAR approach. And most of you would be aware of this. Okay, for competency-based questions. S for situation, T for task, A for action, and R for results. All right. So you'd learn how to use this approach. So when you're going into an interview, you are putting your best foot forward and the best version of yourself to help you get the job and land that role eventually. And last but not the least is the weekly mentorship session. All right. There's one that's going to start at 10 p.m. today. All right. Weekly mentorship session. This involves where you'd see myself or the co-founder of Analytics or other industry professionals who would come to help you understand the space help answer your questions, your concerns. You need that person, that mentor that will tell you that, look, these are the things you're not doing right. These are the things you must do. Okay, and based on my interactions with different people, I get to, find out areas that I think people are lacking. And if you take advantage of this, you can, that can provide a springboard for you to go above your expectation within the space itself. And these are the 7 key areas that a lot of people don't take advantage of. They don't consider as important. And the focus is only on learning Excel, learning Power BI, learning SQL. Oh, I know how to build fantastic dashboards. Trust me, there are 1,000,001 people out there that can build all those amazing stuff you can build. What creates that difference? What differentiates you and sets you apart from the competition are these 7 areas, from your CV to the mentorship. All right. Now, once you have all of these set, the program itself, during the duration of the 4 months, after you've learned all the technical skills, you also have all of this embedded into the program. You'd have your CV review session, your LinkedIn session, your Upwork session, navigating the job market, your recommendations. If you get a job and you need us to provide references for you. If you have interviews, all you have to do is schedule your interview. You'd have somebody work with you as many times as you need, as many times as you want. You have 4 interview sessions. You have 4 interview preparation sessions or more, depending on the level of preparation that is required. Your weekly mentorship sessions as well. This happens every week in the evening at 10 p.m. All right. And we put it at this time so that for those who have work during the day, you would have wrapped up your work and then you can join the weekly mentorship session. But what even makes it amazing is every single session we have is recorded. Okay, so you're having a live session in case, you are stuck in traffic, you missed the mentorship for this week. All you have to do is go to the recording and watch everything that you missed. So you really would not miss anything eventually. All right. So to start wrapping up, you work with the best professionals in the business. You work with Emmanuel. Emmanuel is the head of HR at Pedabo, one of the boutique professional services firm in Nigeria. He's a professional HR leader, thought leader within the space. You'd also work with Joseph. Joseph is a HR partner, business partner with IBM. Also a fantastic professional. You'd work with Joseph around the HR analytics to help you understand the HR skills. And when it comes to the data analytics bit, you'd work with myself. You'd work with Temiloluwa, who is a senior data associate with Tenalytics, and you'd also work with Oladapo. Oladapo is a senior consultant with Deloitte in Bermuda, and Oladapo would work with you on Excel to help you navigate how to demystify Excel. And by the time you are done, most people would say, oh, I'm good with Excel, until they go through Oladapo's class and then they get to see that, wow, I thought I knew Excel, but I'm sure I've learned a whole lot more than I knew initially. All right. So you'd work with the best in the industry, the best of the best in the industry, from Efemena, who is going to be your mentor. Efemena is going to work with you all through your mentorship, providing key industry insights, what you need to do, how to get a job, what you should focus on, what you shouldn't focus on, and so on and so forth. You'd work with myself, you'd work with Nene. Nene would work with you on problem solving. Nene works with Zelos here in the UK, a licensee of Nike, and should provide her industry-wide experience, helping you, transition and, getting the best within the space as well. And Nene has worked with some of the biggest companies, from Bank of America to KPMG and so many other companies. You have Nena, who would also, at some point come into your mentorship sessions to work with you as well. And of course, you have Emmanuel, who would be a key player within the HR space during your program, and so many other professionals that you'd have. And I can see a lot of people asking, oh, put the link for the mentorship session is not free, Lois. the mentorship session is only for those that are paid for the program that get to join the mentorship session. So the part of the program is embedded, and it happens every week from when you join the program until you are done. And even when you are done, until you get a job, you keep on joining the mentorship session, because we would work with you to ensure that you get a job. And I'm seeing so many questions on, oh, what does it cost to be a part of the program, and so on. So Chinyere, please confirm that we have the people that would love to speak, because people would love to share their ideas. Those that have gone through the program, they want to share their knowledge and their experience with you. Because of course, I'm sure they have to go and join the mentorship starting. It has started already. So Chinyere, let's have them come in to share their experience, and then I would wrap up in the next 15 minutes or less. Okay, so we have those who started. Some of them started early in the year. Some started last month in July. So they want to share their experience with you, their learning journey, what they've been able to build, what they have been able to learn across. So I think I have Jonathan, and who is the second person? Okay, Jonathan and Chioma. Is that correct, Chinyere?
Yes, sir.
All right. So I think we'll start with Jonathan. Okay. So Jonathan, if you are there, if you can quickly just, show us what you have. And I think Jonathan started in July. All right.
Yes.
And Jonathan has been doing a fantastic job. So Jonathan, I'm going to ask, where are you joining us from, Jonathan?
I'm joining from Istanbul, Turkey.
Istanbul, fantastic. What time is it at Istanbul right now?
This is 12 already.
12 midnight.
Past 12. Yes.
Wow. All right. Thank you for joining us today, Jonathan. So Jonathan will be sharing his experience with us. So Jonathan, tell us what you've learned over the course of your journey. You started in July. How has the program been? Just share your experience with others that would love to be a part of the program as well. Over to you, Jonathan.
Yeah, thank you so much. Analytics has been a great place to be. I'm going to confess that it's a great place to be for your tech, for anything you have to do with your tech. We've done a lot. The journey has been so fruitful and has been so interesting. We've done a lot with Excel, with Power BI. Our mentorship class also has been so interesting. So I'm going to share my screen so that people will see what we've done so far with Power BI. I love Power BI so much. So I'm going to share it, and okay, I'm sure we can see my screen.
Oh, yes, we can see your screen, Jonathan.
Yeah. This is week here employee attrition. It talks about employee of a company, their data, everything about them. This was built within few weeks that I joined Analytics, and I must say again, it's the best place to be, and the journey has been so good. When I finished this, I was so happy that I could achieve this within few minutes. Yes, because of the class we've gone through, the lectures, our facilitators are really good. They've given us the best out of the best, and I must confess that I give it to them. Analytics is the best place to be for your HR, for your Excel, for your Power BI lessons, everything. I give it to Analytics.
All right, fantastic. Jonathan, your dashboard looks brilliant, and I think it also shows attrition for a company. And you'll be having your presentation. Yes. When would you be holding the presentations again?
That will be next week.
Next week. All right. And I'm sure you're preparing for the presentation.
Yes, I'm trying my best.
Right. Fantastic. Thank you very much, Jonathan, for sharing your dashboard with us. So again, like I mentioned earlier, this is Jonathan. He joined in July. So just about a month after he's joined, they built so many stuff, dashboards on Excel. This is one on Power BI, also on attrition. okay, showing what is happening with regards to people leaving the company, how many employees, the attrition rates, and so on and so forth. But thank you for staying up till 12 midnight in Turkey to share your experience with us.
Welcome.
All right. It's always a pleasure to have you. So I think we have one more person, and then I'll wrap up my session. Thank you once again, Jonathan, for showing up today.
You're welcome.
So I think we have Chioma. So Chioma, if you could also unmute yourself and turn on your video, let's see you.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Well, good evening from here. My name is Chioma, and I joined analytics in May. Yeah, May cohort, and it's been an amazing experience. I must confess, just like Jonathan said, I really love Power BI so much as well. Okay, so earlier this year, I really wanted to like advance my career, and then I was really looking for where I would get the opportunity to like learn about HR analytics, and it was really a struggle because I've been seeing like so many platforms that say, oh, come and join us, we'll teach you how to be in tech in so many months. So I came across analytics on Instagram, but I still had my doubts, of course, because I've not seen anyone that's joined analytics before. But I registered for their masterclass, of course, and I just wanted to see what's happening. And then I joined and I saw the amazing things that was shown to us by Adizaya. You were also our facilitator that year, so I can remember. And so after that time, I was like, should I join? Should I not join? And I was really, it had like a WhatsApp group. I don't know if it's still existing now. And then I reached out to everybody on the group. I was sending them messages. Where did you hear about them from? Are you sure they're legit? And then everyone was like, no, you're not sure. I was really in doubt. But then I think some days after, my housemate just came into my room and she was like, have you heard of analytics? And I was like, analytics, like this. I said, how did you hear about them? And she was like, my friend told me that she worked with them and then she got like a good job. I was like, okay, I've gotten like confirmation then, and then I just decided to like start. And ever since then, I haven't regretted like anything analytics. I've learned a whole lot. Yesterday we had a mentorship section on CV revamping and also LinkedIn optimization. Trust me, it was so amazing. God will bless Efe. Anywhere he is right now, God will bless him, because I worked on my CV today using like some of the hints. I didn't even need the template. I was looking for the template all around, but I didn't get the template that I was doing. I said, okay, that told us what to do. Let us just sit down there and just do it. And then my facilitator, we call her class captain, Chinyere. I think she's here as well. So she also like gave me like a platform where I could check for my CV. Trust me, after I worked on my CV yesterday, my CV moved from 20%, or was it 20%, to 64%, just following what if he told us yesterday. And that wasn't just it. I sat down and said, quick, let me just move to my LinkedIn as well and just, attended the class from is it Tenny? Yeah, I think it was Tenny. I don't know. She taught us about CV, and also I just used like everything that she told us on LinkedIn optimization. And then when I put my LinkedIn on resume worded, it was 74%. I was like, wow, just with the mentorship class. So I really want to encourage everybody here. Analytics is like Jonathan has said, is the real deal. My classes has been so interesting, and it's been really helpful. Our tutors are like, they will teach you like a nursery school child. Like we keep going back. No, we don't know this thing. Take us back, because of course we are new, but they are so patient with us. They would teach you, you would learn, like you would not regret this. Trust me, like I'm a living testimony. I'm still, we're still learning, of course. And then after applying for jobs, after I did my CV, I put my CV on like the platform they told us about. If you want to know the platforms, please register. When you register, we'll tell you if you want to attend the mentorship sections. Trust me, like the analytics is really good. Like I would really encourage everybody. I'm not saying it because of my selfish interest or anything. Like just give it a try out, and you will not regret. In fact, just try. Just try. And there are so many testimonies. I was even gingered. One of the sections we had, people have come to like tell us that after they in fact, before you even finish, you can apply for jobs and you start getting me. I'm even, because I was even too slow. I've joined since May. I just did my CV and LinkedIn optimization thing. I mean, do myself. Because if I had started since, maybe I would have gotten a job by now. So I just want to encourage everybody, please, for your own good, because the testimonies are going to come out of it are going to be great. So I just want to encourage everybody, please join if you're looking for where to be with analytics. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Choma. One last thing before you leave. Where are you joining from?
Yeah, from Birmingham. I'm in the UK.
Birmingham, fantastic. All right, thank you very much, Choma, for coming up to share your experience with us. And like you said, we did an analysis of people that join our program, and we found out that over 55% comes through referral. So big thanks to your housemates that said, oh, I heard about Analytics and join our program. So that's absolutely fantastic. And I'm glad that you are getting value, which is very, very crucial to us, of course. And your mentorship session yesterday on getting a job, your CV and everything. I joined in, but I had to leave, but if he handled it, and I'm sure, it was a fantastic.
Yeah, it was fantastic. I was really glad I joined yesterday's section, because that's what I worked with yesterday's section, and then I got the best out of it, trust me.
Absolutely. Well done. So all the best, Choma. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming up to share your story with us today. We really do appreciate you. Okay, so I'm just quickly going to wrap up the session because, yes, we have time is fast spent, and I want to wrap up at exactly 10:30. So I'll take questions as well if you have questions. And I can see a lot of people are asking, oh, what does it take? Our next cohort starts on the 2nd of September. Okay, so we have cohorts. Choma joined in May. We had May, June, July, and then we have August. Okay, Jonathan joined in July. August started on the 5th of August, and then we have the next cohort on the 2nd of September. Okay, and what does it take to be a part of the program? So just like Choma, Jonathan, everybody that have joined the program, they joined the free session like this, a masterclass, to show the possibilities available in tech. Okay, what you can learn and how you can transition. And like you've heard Choma, her story, amazing CV sessions, amazing LinkedIn sessions. She's gone back and improved her score on her CV and LinkedIn to, remarkable figures, and it only gets better from there. Now, to be a part of the program starting on the 2nd of September, it costs £400 if you're paying in pounds, or 320,000 Naira if you're paying in Naira. Okay, but what we always do is, for our sessions leading up to the main program itself, we have discounts. We call it the early bird discounts, discount for early birds. Okay, and this is still very early because the program starts next month, which is about three weeks-ish away from today. So for those who are interested to be a part of the program, we have our early bird discounts running from now until the 18th of August, which is next week, Friday. Okay, and what's the discounted fee? So instead of paying £400 or £320, you get to pay £300 if you're paying in pounds. So you have £100 discount right off the bat. And you can also make payments in 2 installments. All right, £200 to get started, and then £100 1 month into the program. All right, and if you're paying in Naira, 270,000 Naira instead of 320. Okay, so you have another 50,000 discounts, and then you can make payments in 2 installments, 180 to get into the class to get registered, and then 1 month after the program commences. And if you're paying in dollars, instead of $500, it's 400. You pay 300 and 100, or you can make the full payment if you want to make the full payment. And if you're paying in Canadian dollars, because we also have a large chunk of our participants coming from Canada, different people. You saw Jonathan joining from Turkey, from Istanbul. We have Choma joining from the UK, and we have a diverse set of participants across our various programs. And for those who are paying in Canadian dollars, instead of paying 600, you get to pay 500 Canadian dollars, 350 to join, and then 150 1 month after the program starts. Okay, but the discount ends on Friday, the 18th, not this Friday, not tomorrow, the Friday next week. All right. So if you want to be a part of the program, this is the best time for you to jump in and take advantage of the discounts we have available. All right. And again, how do you join the program? How do you be a part of the program? All you have to do is you can make payments using Paystack or PayPal. And all you have to do is click on this link, and I'll show you quickly before I take questions from you. So just click on the link and it takes you into the payments enrollment page. And all you have to do is, I'm just going to wait for a few seconds for that to pop up. And then I'll show you how you can navigate to making your payments. So it takes you to the payments enrollments page, all right? And you can check for all the brochures for the programs we offer. You click on this, you have access to all the brochures. And then you want to make payments in Naira, for example, using your debit card or your credit card, as the case might be. You can make payments on Paystack. You click on the link for full or part payments, depending on what you want to pay. And then you look for the HR Analytics, okay? HR Analytics. And if I click on that, I can then select the payment I want to make, all right? Choose payments. I can either make full payment of 270, take advantage of the discount, join the program immediately, or I can make the parts payment of 180, all right? And you make payments using your card, and then you are good to go. Or you can simply make your payments using PayPal if you'd love to do that as well. All you have to do, if you want to make payments in pounds, for example, or you want to make payments in US dollars or Canadian dollars, you can make payments using the PayPal, all right? Click on full payments if you want to make full payments or parts payments, and then all you have to do is click on buy now, you enter your card details, and then you make payments to join the program. Now, once you make payments, all you have to do is just take a screenshot of the payment and then upload your payments. Okay, and where do you upload your payments? Once you come back to this link, you'd see where you have upload your initial or full payments. You click on that and then you register your details, and that gets you into the program. You receive a welcome kit, and then you receive an email that contains your welcome kit. The welcome kit contains all the things you need for the program, all right, from your Microsoft Excel, how to download and install Power BI, SQL, and all the other materials you need, in addition to your full class timetable from when you start on the 2nd of September to when you wrap up the program. Okay, and for those who would love to make payments using a direct transfer, so for some reason you cannot make payments using your card, either your Naira card or your pound or dollar card, as the case might be, you can make a direct payment. You can make a direct payment to either our UK bank account using these account details, or you make payments in Naira using our Fidelity bank account. And if for any reason you want to reach out to us, you can reach out to us using any of these numbers, and one of our customer success associates would respond to you. Okay, and just before we call it a day, some very fantastic success stories, because I said I was going to share this with you. All right. So Victor, I'd have loved to play Victor's video for you, but we'll see by the time I take your questions, if we have time, we'll see Victor's video, because Victor, he works remotely from Nigeria. Right? He joined our program last year, October. By December, he got a job with Hugo in Chicago, Illinois, as a people operations analyst after joining our HR Analytics program, right? So Victor, for example, is cashing out. All of you would know what the dollar is currently going at now. The exchange rates has been ridiculous. Living in Nigeria, earning in dollars and spending in Naira. We have Maureen. Maureen works with TELUS in Canada. TELUS is a telecommunications company in Canada. She works as a HR data analyst after joining our training program. and she got the job. After joining our HR Analytics program, she was able to get a job with TELUS in Canada. And of course, we have Thelma, who works as a HR analyst in Birmingham, here in the UK as well, after joining our HR Analytics program. And there are so many success stories. I'm not going to bore you with all of them because you get the slides. So as soon as you get the slides, you have the opportunity to go through all the nitty-gritty of the program itself, and then you get started with your program. Okay. All right. So I'm going to take questions. So if you have questions, please feel free to ask your questions, and then we can do that for the next few minutes before we call it a day. And I'd love to show you the platform as well. So for those that register, just like Jonathan, like Chioma, when you join, you get to be in this platform, and I'll just show you very quickly while I take your questions. So you can either use the raised hand icon and I'll call you up to speak, or you can simply just type in your question into the chat and I'll take your question. So when you join the program, all right, what you do is to get into one of the classrooms, and I'll show you the classroom for July. Okay. So this is a class, the HR Analytics cohort for July 07-23. I would open this. So let's see what the classroom looks like. And like I mentioned, the classroom is simply where you have all your materials, okay? Where you have all your materials. So when you join the program, your class recording, the login details, join the class. If you miss a class, this is the platform you come to. You come here, the class recording, everything is here. So you actually don't miss anything. Okay, so this is the class for July. If I click on classwork, what do I see? Let's scroll all the way to the bottom. So this particular cohort started on the 1st of July. All right, and this is Jonathan's class. He started on the 1st of July. So you start with problem solving. Okay, I'll maximize a bit so you can see my screen better. All right, so you start with problem solving. That's the very first thing you do. And you have your onboarding session where you have your the session to show you, to welcome you into the program and how to navigate all the different systems you'd be a part of. You have the problem solving login details, okay? And then you have your slide. Okay, so let's take, for example, this is the very first class, which I would not expect anybody to miss, but let's assume you missed this class. All you have to do is come back here, go to the slide, click on the slide, you'd have access to all the materials. So this is the problem solving slide, for example. The session was taken by Nene. Like I said, Nene is a strategic professional, over 5 years experience, works with Zelos in the UK, a licensee of Nike. She's worked with the Denom Group, KPMG, while she was in Nigeria, worked with the Bank of America, worked with Loros Development Partners, and so on and so forth, okay? And when people ask, what's the very first thing I do when I join the program? Because I don't have experience. I don't know what data is. I've never even used Excel before. We don't dive into building stuff on the first day. The first day you're working on what? Answering the question on what is data, the very first basic. The basics of data analytics. What is data? I'm sure if I ask people the question now, what is data? I'll get numerous answers, some correct and some maybe not so correct. Okay, so that's where you start from. Okay, you'd go to types of data, you'd move to what is data analytics, you'd move to types of data analytics, and you know the fundamentals and the building blocks before you move into more complex things. And if you missed the class, the recording is also here. All you have to do is to click on the link and it takes you into the recorded class. And all you have, it's available for you in the platform, lifetime access. Lifetime access. Okay, so you have the recording and all the other materials. And I'll show you a case study, the same one Jonathan presented a few minutes ago. They did that over the weekend on Power BI. So let's move to their Power BI class, which is the second Power BI class they've had. And this session held on the 5th of August, all right? On the 5th of August, they held the Power BI class. And let's see what the case study itself, the case study of that employee attrition problem that they worked on that Jonathan presented. Okay, so we care employee attrition and performance analysis. So you're not learning by watching videos or learning by theoretical concepts. And these are things a lot of people who are doing their masters in the UK, in Canada, they get to realize when it's too late that, look, I'm not learning anything that's applicable in the real world of work. Because what you learn during masters is 100% theories. You write research papers, you write articles, and you work on a lot of theoretical concepts. But the skills that would equip you to solve problems in the real world, you get that by working on projects. And these are projects you'd work on when you are a part of the program, all right? So this is the case study they worked on during the last class, they held in Power BI. And then they have another case study they're going to work on with regards to another attrition case study, but for a different company this time around. Okay, so this is what the platform looks like. This is a mentorship session that held, the 4th mentorship session, because it started on the 1st of July. And remember, you have mentorship every single week. So the recordings are here. For anybody who missed the class, you have access to the recording. One last thing, now this is the Upwork optimization. All right. One last thing I'm going to mention before we call it a day is you have several layers of support system. Okay. Now, Choma mentioned one, which is it doesn't matter how slow you learn. If you're with Analytics, you learn, because we'll take our time to go back to work with you where you have issues and help you address those issues. We also have something we call the drop-in sessions. You can see that here, drop-in. The drop-in sessions are designed to help you address any problems you have in class. So let's take, for example, a class holds on Saturday. I see my trainer, I see Adeza. Adeza taught us something, we built something, but Chioma has tried to do it, or Chidera has tried to do the same thing, but she really can't get it figured out. Okay, she's still struggling and she needs help. So she sends a message to the group to say, hello guys, I've tried this, or hello Adeza, I've tried this, I'm still not getting it. How can you help me solve this problem? Now I give Chidera, so ideas on what I think she needs to do. She goes back and she does it, but it still doesn't work out. So what it means is she needs that one-on-one session, all right? She needs somebody to say, Chidera, can you put up your screen? Let me see what you have, and then I can guide you to what you get to do. And that's what happens during the drop-in sessions. So the drop-in sessions are designed to hold during the week, so that if you have a problem that you've tried to solve, but you really can't solve it on your own, somebody would be with you in that drop-in session during the week, usually in the evenings, when you'd have been back from work or back from school, to look at the problem with you and help you address that problem ahead of the next class on Saturday. So you're not going into another class with the same problem you had, from the previous class. You get everything sorted out right before, the next class commences. All right. So these are the multi-layered, solutions we've put in place to ensure that your learning experience is seamless and you have an amazing time. Like I said, 2 things you must consider. Number 1, your technical skills. Number 2, the soft skills that prepare you for the job markets, which you would not find anywhere else. Okay, somebody's asking, Shade, can we get any contacts through which we can reach you for further inquiries? If you want to ask me a direct question right now, feel free to do that. Or you can just reach out to any of these numbers on the screen and somebody would respond to you. One of our customer success associates would respond to you. And Shade, I hope you can see my screen. I'm just going to read the number out. So that's +44744 803 4093 or +234 902 985 0839. All right, you can reach us on any of those numbers. All right, I'll take a pause at this point in time If you have questions, please feel free to ask your questions before we call it a day. Now, one of the things I always try to emphasize is a lot of people are not in today's session because of one or two reasons: busy at work, stuck in traffic, have other, commitments. Now, if you have a colleague, you have a friend, you have a brother, a sister that you think can benefit from, this type of event or this type of program, share the message with them. When you get the recording, when you receive an email, you get a link to the recording, share it with them. Okay, tell them the story. Let them get their journey started in tech as well. We've had so many people come tell us that, look, my brother joined your session. He, enjoyed the session so much, and he felt I should join and be a part of it. And today, they've been able to transition, working with the NHS, working with some of the biggest companies here in the UK, in Canada, and so many countries across the globe. All right. So share the message. And the whole idea is you'll be a part of the program starting on the 2nd of September. But if you're not getting your journey started now, whenever you decide, Tenalytics will be here for you to get you started. I want to go into those companies here in the UK and see people that look like me, dark-skinned Africans, people of the Black community, holding jobs that ordinarily the Asians would have taken advantage of. We need to be in those roles, and we need to take, have more career growth within the tech ecosystem, as opposed to doing the menial jobs and the jobs that we ordinarily would not do until we are pressured to eventually take up on those roles. All right. So please follow us across all our platforms, our social media platforms, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Twitter, on Instagram, across all the platforms. We are at Tenalytics across all platforms, and would have so many more amazing sessions coming up or leading up to the program starting on the 2nd of September. So if you'd love to be a part of another session like this, ensure you follow us across all platforms, and we'll be very happy to engage you in another masterclass. Hope you've been able to get value this evening, and thank you very much for spending time with us, spending your precious evening with us today, and I hope you've gotten value. All right, I'd love to see you in class starting on the 2nd of September. If you want to engage me with further questions, reach out to any of our numbers, okay? And they'll schedule a one-on-one or a drop-in session, and then we'll get some of your questions answered. Have an amazing evening, and until we see in another session again, cheers, guys. And thank you very much to Abayomi, Akinwale, Chioma, and Chidera for being a key part of our solution for today. Thank you very much, guys. I really do appreciate your contributions. Bye, everyone.